ladies and gentlemen. Sorry, I was running late. I was a bit late to the party. Oh dear, oh dear. I was just cleaning the lens, making sure everything's all ship-shape and Bristol fashion, that we're all set to go for another exciting Bald Explorer Live. So nice of you to join me so promptly and all ready for the show. How lovely, how amazing. Very kind, very kind. Oh, got to catch my breath back. Oh, that's it. Get the old gin down me.
It's good to see. It's a good game. All right, my love. Let's look at the old floorboard. It's Richard and Arthur 2 points, and Arthur and Richard 5 points. Didn't they do well?
I've already started, ladies. I've already started. Welcome to the Bald Explorer Live on the 22nd of March, 2018. I'm singing over the music now. Welcome to the show on the 22nd of March. I'll do it properly. 2018. Fantastic. I have been, ladies and gentlemen, to Brighton. Well, I've been to Hove, actually. Yes, I've been to Hove, and I'm going to tell you all about my journey to the Regency Townhouse, and what a fantastic townhouse I have to say it is. That is, if you don't like wallpaper on the walls, and if you don't mind no heating and carpets. But don't let that put you off, because they're doing it up. They're doing it up. It's being renovated, ladies and gentlemen. Renovated. And when I say Renault, I don't mean the car. I'm not talking Renault. Not like the old Papa. What was her name? Not Fifi. What was her name in the old Renault advert? The Renault Clio. What was her name? Something. Yes, Papa. Thank you, band. Thank you. Go and have a sit down. Take the weight off your bank balance. Anyway, there we are, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Vobes One-Eyed Kenobi Bald Explorer Live at 95 and alive. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, 95 and alive. What does that mean? What is he talking about? Has anybody got any idea, any concept, ladies and gentlemen? 95 and alive. 95 years old. No, 95 and full of life, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, I'll get onto that a little bit shortly. Let's just make sure there are people out there, because after all, if there isn't anybody out there, I'm talking to myself, and that'll be sending in those blokes with the white coats again. So Alex has joined the party. Andy is there, Judith, Kevin Hall, Julia Hartley-Neal, the lovely Julia, as we know her, Chris Puller, Alex Whitlock, and James Tomlinson are the names that I can see at the moment. Let's hope, ladies and gentlemen, that a few more come to the party, because it was only me that was late by the looks of things. Everybody else has yet to arrive, but never mind, don't let that worry you. I've got a few bits more of different types of music to play in here, just to test the Facebook. Have you got copyright issue? Oh, look, there we are. I've got the old emojis going. Emojis. When did you put the H on the emoji? I've got an H on my emoji. I love to have an H on. It's like having an H on the GGs, isn't it? Yeah, we've got a bit of this. Yeah, we got all of that. That's a bit from the old Vision On. Do you remember the left bank? Oh, that's superb. The Novatones, ladies and gentlemen. The Novatones. And now we'll look at the gallery. Do you remember Pat Kiesel? I worked with her son once, Pat Kiesel's son. Yeah, Mike, his name was. And now we'll look at the gallery. That was all a sign language. I'm not saying it's the proper sign language, it's just a sign. it's a sign that I'm completely raving mad, and you should send the boys in with the baseball bats. Not the cricket bat, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so we've got a bit of that. Anyway, enough of this gay banter, because first of all, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Scott Grant has arrived. He says, "Hi, everyone. Come to the man cave to watch." Well done. Escape. Escape from the kids. Escape from all the other terrors of life. Come and embrace the Vobie One-Eyed Kenobi and join the utter madness. That's a very good idea to do. Who else have we got there? Ed Warren. Evening all. Yes, Ed Warren. Ed Warren, you're sounding like Dixon of Dock Green. Do you remember Dixon of Dock Green? No, you're too young. You're too young, Ed, to remember good old Dixon of Dock Green when he used to come out and stand there and go, "Evening all. It's a funny night when you go walking down the street and someone taps you on the left shoulder only to ask you for a banana, and when you produce a banana, they stick a knife in your gut and rob you of your court case. Well, there was a case only the other day." Yes, I remember Dixon of Dock Green. I'm that old, I'm sorry to say. But anyway, never mind Dixon of Dock Green and all those sort of exciting things. Gregory, I don't know how you pronounce your name, Gregory. Kaisi, is it Kaisi? Gregory Kaisi? It sounds Italian. Hey, it sounds Italian. Is it by any... Hey, mamma mia, please, stop mucking about it over there with the spaghetti. I probably now just offended everybody, of course, ladies and gentlemen, because, of course, these days you can't offend anybody without the powers that be coming in and electrocuting you, which is obviously not a very good idea. Claire Leach says, loved Tony Hart and Morph. Yes. Unfortunately, I haven't got Tony Hart and Morph here, but I might be morphing into a ball of pus by the end of it. I don't know why. I just might be, but I just might be so exhausted I just go... Anyway, enough of this nonsense. I must, first of all, get on and do the most important thing of the day, because, ladies and gentlemen, you may not realise this, but I am now a granddad.
I'm a little old man, ladies and gentlemen. A little spectacled old man, and I'm going to grow a grey beard.
Because, ladies and gentlemen, yes, baby George has arrived. My son, he's the one with the beard in the picture, has managed to impregnate the lady on the left. You can't see much of her, didn't get much of her picture. That's Patricia. And that little thing with all that hair, unbelievably, I'm so jealous about the amount of hair, ladies and gentlemen. That is the one and only baby George. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that incredible? That is absolutely fantabadoozy. Yeah, good old baby George. Going to go down and see baby George at the weekend, which... no, not even the weekend, tomorrow. Going to see baby George tomorrow. I'm going to go and see and maybe hold
a little baby.
My little grandson. It's going to be fantastic. So there we are. I am now officially a senile old buffoon. I was a buffoon before, but now I'm a senile old buffoon, and isn't it terrible? But anyway, there we are. So that's what I am. And thank you very much for all the congratulations. Assuming you've bung some congratulations. Kevin Horgan.
No, little baby.
He's definitely got his granddad. Yes, thanks, Ed Warren. Thank you very much for that. Beautiful, says Anne. That's very kind. Dan Evans, smashing news, Richard. Gregory A.
Yes, I'm from Italy.
Is saying congratulations to all the great family news, which is great. Cynthia Walder says,
oh, so good.
Well, all babies are gorgeous, aren't they? Otherwise, you get to hold them too long and they puke over you, which nobody really wants. Philip Neighbour has joined. Hello, Philip Naylor. How are you doing? Have you been nailing all those tiles to the roof? Another busy day up on the roof there. A man of no fear of heights. That's what we like. Elaine Brazier says, beautiful.
What a beautiful little baby. Beautiful baby.
I am hoping to get some more pictures, ladies and gentlemen. I won't be throwing them all over the internet, because after all, my son may say, oi, Dad, it's our baby. It's nothing to do with you. Don't do that. Don't bung them all over the internet. It's our baby. He hasn't yet signed the release form, the artist's release form. After all, he's underage, you know. So, Ruth Young, congratulations. Thank you very much. Kushti Phil, lovely to see you. Thank you for passing by. It's always nice. Less of the granddad thing. It has happened, and so there he is, one last time. Oh, that's the only pictures I've got. My son Billy and Georgie, they've been getting loads of pictures of the baby, but the dad, me, I've only had a couple, so a little bit annoyed about that, but never mind. Anyway. On with the show, ladies and gentlemen. On with the show. Now, before I tell you about the Regency House that I went to, before I tell you about that, I meant to tell you yesterday one of the places where I went filming. And if I can find the pictures, it's not there. If I can find the thank you. It's not there either, actually. It's down the bottom of this lot, so I just got to come out of this. Dee-da. Talk about yourself whilst I find this silly thing. Here we go. Anybody know where this is? Anybody know where this is? Go on. Have a little think. See if you can work out where that is. Yes, I'll tell you, because I can't wait for the delay to come round. It is Glynde, ladies and gentlemen. Not a big behind. Glynde, which is on the way to Lewes. It's off the trunk road from Eastbourne to Lewes, back in the ye old days of... the turnpike road, back in the old days of the toll gates and things. And this is looking north from the station. And I just wanted to show you a couple of pictures because the video will be coming out fairly soon. There's some beautiful houses in Glynde. I had the pleasure to walk through it the other day when I went out with my son climbing up Mount Caburn. Mount Caburn is just on the right. See that sort of bit of a greeny hill? That's Mount Caburn, but beyond that beautiful house. Some of these houses are pretty old. Look, 1782, ladies and gentlemen, with presumably the initials of the builders put in there. So that's rather nice. But I was particularly interested in the church because the church is Palladian style. I believe a Trevor Richards or a Richard Trevor, I can't remember now which way round it goes, built it to the design of somebody called Thomas Robinson, I think his name was. Sir Thomas Robinson, who was presumably some architect. Anyway, there's another picture of it. Beautiful, unusual church, 1765. It was dedicated to Saint Mary, the Blessed Virgin. And inside you could go up, there was a sort of minstrel's gallery, which was rather nice, so I could get up on the top there and get this sort of artistic looking down photo, which you can't always do. And then you can see in the back there that sort of typical Palladian, what do they call it? Venetian windows. That's the arch at the far end and the two square ones. Very classic bit of architecture. And then next door, oh yes, I had to get this for the lovely Julia because she is a fan of dragons and things. So I went and collected a couple of pictures of dragons. This is at Glynde Place, which is an estate next door. I did take some pictures, but I haven't brought them along with this. So there we are, a couple of dragons just to whet your appetite, ladies and gentlemen, just to whet your appetite before the video comes out. So that was, and I went on up the road because when I did the walk, people, you can't put a video up online these days now, ladies and gentlemen. You can't put a video up with some clever pants, some smarty plants going, because I made an error. I made a slight error because we climbed up Mount Caburn. I looked down and I went, oh, look, there you can see the buildings. You can see the buildings of Glyndebourne Opera House, I said, off the top of my head, knowing it was somewhere in that vicinity. Of course, it's about a mile and a half up the road, in actual fact. And people, the smarty pants, were going, dear Richard, no, you're wrong. That's Glynde Place you're seeing. It's not at all the opera house by any means of the imagination. You're so wrong. You're just so wrong. You're wrong. Oh, all right. So I'm sorry. I made a mistake. So, people do tell you when you're wrong. And sometimes they get right up close like that, which is somewhat worrying. I just need to calm down a minute. I just need to calm down. Hang on, I just need to... Oh, that's better. I'm feeling a bit better. Yeah, I've calmed down. So what I wanted to do was go to Glyndebourne and have a look at the actual building, which I could see the old house, the original house, because I think if I remember rightly, and I hope this is true because I mentioned it in the video, which I've yet to edit and put up, of course, is that it was a bit of a love story. I think somebody, the osner, whose name I can't remember now, and in fact I don't even know. So if I don't know, I can't remember, can I? By osmosis or something. Didn't he have? He had some woman to come over to stay, an opera singer or some description, and they fell in love. And he thought, oh, it's a shame you have to go, swanning off to London to do all that singing, all that warbling that you do. No, we're not having. Why is no? Go away. Sorry, we're not having any calls in today's show. There's no Skype. I don't know how to turn Skype off. I thought, from yesterday, I thought I'll have no. Please don't ring on Skype. I don't know how to turn it off. I don't even know how. I didn't think it was on. You shouldn't be able to ring. It should be a private line. Leave it out. Whoever you are, leave me alone. Anyway, so it was a love story. It was a love story, and they were warbling away. And so from what I understand, is that they decided that they would build the opera house here, and people came, not just sheep. Not just cows, because it's in a beautiful rural setting, ladies and gentlemen. Beautiful, beautiful rural setting. And so you can go. I don't know if you may well have been there. You may well have been inside and seen it, for all I know. It's far too expensive for me. I couldn't possibly. It's still going, that music. Anyway, so I've made another video about Glyndebourne as such. So that will be coming very soon, ladies and gentlemen. That'll be coming very soon. Let's see what you're saying. I'm sorry about the Skype call halfway through. Alex Whitlock says, owner's initials. Oh, yes, there we go. That's owner's initials. Well, really. Nigel Sadler says, here be... stop streaming, start streaming. Why have I... Come on, reconnect. This is maddening, isn't it? Disconnected. Connection successful. I do apologise, ladies. For a moment there we froze. It doesn't appear on the recording for some reason. I don't quite know. Maybe the internet is having a bit of a hiccup, or my laptop's having a hiccup, or we're all getting a little bit ancient and long in the tooth. But anyway, whatever it is, we're now back together. So whilst we've got a signal, let's move on from that, because today I went to the Regency Townhouse, which is in Brunswick Square, ladies and gentlemen. Brunswick Square in Hove, down by the seafront. It's beautiful, beautiful. Here, have a look at this. This is a picture of the part of the square. These are these beautiful buildings built around the beginning of, about 1827, I think it was, something like that, 1830s, say. And the one that we're looking at is about 3 or 4 in the middle of that lot, just beyond the hotel, in fact. Now, I've got some pictures, but before I show you the pictures, I've got a little snippet of video from when I went there, okay? So I'm going to show you that. And it's a very quick, loose bit of video. Oh, I've lost my camera now. No, that's not it. Here it is. A very loose bit of video. So I'm going to just show you that first before we get disconnected again. And you can see the state, because they are renovating it. They started in 1984. There's no actual end date, but it's not going to be a replica of the townhouse that it once was. It is going to be an authentic version, a genuine version. So everything in that house will be genuine. Paul Couchman was taking me round. Very nice bloke, very enthusiastic, very knowledgeable. He's actually his historical chef. Not a hysterical chef, a historical food expert, and he cooks up historical foods, and he cooks banquets and bits and pieces when they have guests there, special people coming in. You'll see him in a minute. He's the guy who's taking me around, and he was telling me that it's so authentic that actually sometimes when they're putting in extra bits of brickwork that they need to replace, they put in the brickwork, which is the genuine brickwork of the right period. It put into the wall, it's plastered over. It's laid in the proper way, so if it's not Flemish bond, probably English bond, the way they do English bond on bricks, and then it's plastered over in the correct fashion, and then the fireplace is put with the surround on it. So even though you cannot see it, the bits that they have corrected, they've used the original materials, the original type of bricks, or as near to as they can get. And, I mean, amazing, absolutely amazing. When I first walked in, ladies and gentlemen, I thought I'd come into a house that was ready to be knocked down. And then I looked around and I realised that actually what they're doing is very slowly, with volunteers, slowly catchy monkey from 1984, and with such meticulous care, with such artistic flair, with such incredible attention to detail, they're putting this house back to how it originally was, and it is magnificent. You kind of have to look past the bits that aren't yet done. You really do. And the atmosphere in this place is amazing. So have a quick look at this. And, hang on, I've got to get it lined up. Have a look at this. It's just a quick little couple of minutes worth of a view. The principal dining space. Entertaining space, I beg your pardon, yes.
This is where your guests would have come and seen how wealthy you were. So this room is all about showing off.
So... and these houses, which you just say, because you said to me earlier, these houses are not necessarily occupied the whole year round. These are for people who are very wealthy,
yeah.
Have a country house,
a London address,
and this is just, you know, their token, almost their token house, down in Brighton, or in Hove actually, as everyone calls it these days.
Indeed.
But it's all about the money.
It's all about the money. It's all about showing off.
Showing off. This is the dining space. So somewhere in here, a big table.
Right down the middle here, a great big table for about 22, 24 people.
Wow.
At the end there would have been a sideboard. Food would have been served on that as well. Silverware. Underneath a cellaret for your wine, just keep it cold. Nice touch. A few side tables, some hunting scenes, some pictures of hunting scenes on the wall, because that was considered the right decor for a room like this. I should say something about this colour as well, of course, because people are going to notice.
Yeah. What would you call it? It's a sort of...
we call it pink, cherry blossom.
Cherry blossom.
That's what we're doing, and we know that it's this colour. I mean, I should say we haven't just made this up.
No.
If you can do this at home if you've got a very old house as well. You get a piece of sandpaper, and you can sand down all the layers of your paint. What you have to do in the middle is sand right down to the plaster. So that's really important. You've got to work out where the plaster starts.
Oh, and see the history of the paint.
It's sort of paint archaeology.
Gosh. Look at this, ladies and gentlemen.
You dare to stand on it now?
No, I'm going to skirt round first of all. So this is a room that's virtually finished.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And this is the housekeeper's room.
Yeah.
So ultimately, all of the whole house will be finished and furnished like this. So this is one big box you've managed to tick off.
Well, absolutely. I mean, it sort of gives us an idea of what all the other rooms will look like.
Yes.
And especially visitors, because visitors come and say, "When is it going to be finished?"
Yes.
You know, every time we come.
People are so impatient.
Well, they just want it finished, obviously. But this is the template. This is how everything's going to look eventually.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. You're not going to be able to see in the wine cellar.
Well, there you are, ladies and gentlemen. Just a small little flavour, just a tiny little glimpse at this amazing house. I think there's about 5 floors. And what you saw, the second part of that is actually the basement of number 10. So they're at number 13, Brunswick Square, the main house. But the man who, Nick... Tyler, or Tyson, I think it is, who purchased the house and set up the trust, who is very, very particular about how it's going to be put together. He also managed to acquire this basement, which is the room that you saw. That's the housekeeper's room that we just saw. And he's acquired that. And apparently a woman had been living in there since 1927, and she left in about the 60s or something. She moved there with her family as a little child, and then she'd lived in there all her life. And so it was so lucky because they hadn't had any changes, because all those other houses in the whole of Brunswick Square over the years have obviously had a few different changes, including, of course, the frontages have been painted in a completely different colour. Paul was telling me that it was a biscuity colour before, sort of a biscuity brown to begin with green railings, and now it's black railings and this very this bold yellow. He did tell me the name of the colour, and you can sort of buy that colour, buttercup or something. I can't remember exactly now, but and of course they all have to paint those houses, that whole square. They all have to paint those houses more or less at the same time, because they don't want the houses to look faded. You know, some have not painted it for a few years, and some's got a nice new lick of paint. They've all got to kind of paint them at the same time. So there's a lot to it, and they're grade 1. All of them are grade 1 listed. It's absolutely amazing. I've got some more pictures if you'd care to see them. Let me just see if I can find them now. Here we go. So that's what we saw. There we are. So you've got the black railings, and then you've got all that lovely colour of paint and stuff. And then here we go. So inside, of course, different parts of it have yet to be done. Now, this is down in the, I think this is in the basement of number 10, if I remember rightly. So you can see that it is a bit shoddy in some places. And, of course, it wouldn't have been terribly where the family didn't go, because we're talking about the times of upstairs and downstairs with servants and masters and servants and that sort of thing. Where they didn't go, they didn't need to have it particularly nice. Where you could have, like in the kitchen, for example, or somewhere where you were able to get a skylight. These skylights, now this is in one of the kitchens, and the brilliant thing about the skylight, which I hadn't really appreciated, apart from the fact that it's bringing in a lot of light onto the tables where they're preparing the food, which was pretty good, is you can open up those windows. They open up, so the noisome smells and the fatty smoke and stuff has somewhere to escape, which is something that you don't often think about. This is a chap called Tom. I'm going to talk about Tom a little bit later on, but he is working on. I forget what you call it now. Not shelves, a sort of like a French dresser. There was a dresser. And those bits of wood that you can see are the authentic backs of this old dresser. But here's the curious thing and fascinating thing. Each one of those planks, I think a piece of pine, I'm not sure, each one of those, all of them have come from the same tree and from the same trunk, part of the trunk that has been sawn. And I was shown how they know that by they would look at the knots in each plank, and you could see the progression, so that they could actually see which plank was in the centre of the tree and which one went to the outer. Absolutely incredible. Found that very interesting. There's part of the floor. This is a later floor, not an original floor, but that was from about 1860 in I think in the main house kitchen, in actual fact. These lovely fan lights by the door, look at those. I mean, the detail of that is fantastic. And of course, this is west facing, so in the evening, in the afternoon and evening, you'd have the sunshine coming through the front door fan light, and then through this not by the front, sort of 10 foot back sort of hallway. Absolutely, the detail on that and superb. Then back in that housekeeper's, here's just a bit more detail of a typical table with some bread and some pegs and some, quite basic, but actually for a member of staff, they had all these things which gave them status. So really nice. Upstairs in the room that you saw, here we go, the main entertaining room, with those sort of square columns. I don't know if they're columns or pilasters, I suppose, with the Corinthian things, and that pinky wall and the big mirror. Very, very, very swish, very swish. So anyway, so there we go. Some pictures just for you to have a look at, and I have to say I thoroughly enjoyed that. It was really, really interesting. I'm looking forward to putting that edit together. I did an extra interview with Paul, just him, so he could tell us a little bit more information, and I will edit it all up. It'll take a bit of time because some of my walks take quite easy to edit because they're pretty linear. You go from A to B, and then others take a bit of time, and that was one. But thank you so much, Paul. That was really, really interesting. And I did ask Paul, I said, do you know, it would be great, I'm thinking about doing live shows, it would be great to do live shows from places like this, and he said it would be great. Do it. So hopefully, fingers crossed, if he means it. We've yet to sort of work out when and how and all the rest of it, but it'd be lovely one evening with some guests. And because he makes historical food, he makes all these different foods from that period using original ingredients, original flour. Well, obviously not original flour from the day, it's not mouldy old flour from the 1830s, thanks very much. But he, from the original sort of recipes and flour from made in the same way that they would have been made. So if it was a coarser flour, he's using that sort of flour. Because he does all that, I need to pin him down and say, hey, how about doing some cooking for the show? We could do some food tasting, have some guests in there, film him making the stuff in the kitchen, the authentic kitchen. Get him to talk, play it into the live show, and then we sit there and we eat some of that. Wouldn't that be amazing? That would be fantastic. I want to really expand what we're doing here with the old show. So do let me know. So Jennifer Stewart says this is so incredibly beautiful. It is. Terry Wood, what a fabulous house. Stuart Hill, look up Mr. Straw's house in Worksop. Yes, I'll have to do that. Thank you for that. Regency, says Andy Ash. Lantern, Richard. Is that is that what it's called? The lantern window. Not as grand as this, though. Yeah, no, it's got so much potential, which is really cool. Thank you very much for that. Now, I showed you a picture in there somewhere. Hang on, I just want to find it again, if I can, just very briefly. Here we go. You can't really see him terribly well. This is Tom. I had a very long conversation with Tom. Because Tom, he's he's a very nice man, and he's doing all this hard work. He's volunteer. They're all volunteers. They go in on a Thursday, and I said, "Oh, it's very good of you." He said, "Yes, I'm 95." 95? I said 90. When somebody's 95, you wait. Hang on, that's 5 from 100. He's working with his hands. He's got all his faculties. He cycles. 95. He cycles. I mean, he is incredible. And I said, golly, you've only got 5 years to go, and then you'll be 100. You'll be getting the telegram from the Queen. He said, I don't want to live to 100. I said, but I don't understand. You're 95. Why wouldn't you want to live up to 100? You've only got 5 years to get through. And he said, yes, you see, he said, it's a funny thing being old. And I said, well, I've just become a granddad, so, I now know what it is to be old. And he said, no, he said, it's very strange. He said, because up here, he said, I'm not 95. I don't feel 95. He said, I'm very lucky. I can still work with my hands and I can still go places and all the rest of it. And he said, but, all my friends have died, mostly. I'm on my own now. And he said it's very tricky, and this was so poignant. And I deliberately spent long time with him, talking and listening to him, because he was a fascinating bloke, and we had an amazing conversation. But he said it's very difficult at 95 to make friends. It's very difficult to make friends. He said, because who wants to make friends with a 95-year-old? Because when people make friends with a 95-year-old, they're going to be thinking, oh, yeah, in another 6 months I'll be pushing him around in a wheelchair, or I'll be taking him to the care home, or he'll be going a bit doolally, or I might find him stiff on the bed because he's died in the night. He said it's very tricky. He said nobody wants to make friends. And he said, the thing is, you've still got all those old emotions that you had, those urges and those needs, ladies and gentlemen, those needs from when you were a 50-year-old. And I said, oh, tell me about it. And he said, no. He said, but the thing is, he said, I go to this club called. He did give me the initials, and I can't remember what they were, but it's a club for people of the university of the third generation, or the third age, or whatever it is, basically old people thing. And he said, you go around, and he said he would be talking to a woman, and I said, oh, you dirty dog, you. And he said, no. He said, I'd be talking to this woman, and it transpires she's 68. And I said, well, what's wrong with that? He says, I'm 95. My daughter is 68. He said, it's like you going out with a girl the age of your daughter. And I thought, well, my daughter is about 25. Yeah, that would seem a bit wrong. 35 would be all right, but 25 does seem a bit young. And so he said, he just said, but I said, surely, you know, when you get to a certain age, it's all, you know, if you don't, he didn't look 95. He didn't look 75. He didn't look 75. He was an amazing man. Really nice, very level-headed, very personable, very polite. You know, born in the 20s, for heaven's sake. You know, he's a very lovely chap. And he said, no, I couldn't have a relationship. He said, this woman was after me a bit, and we were sort of seeing each other, and the words inappropriate kept coming to his mind, because he kept seeing this huge gulf of age between them. And it was so sad, because I said, you know, you're your own worst enemy. She's interested in you, and you are interested in her. And he said, oh, but the thing is, I can picture that she would perhaps want to put her arm around me when we're crossing the road. And he just said it just seemed inappropriate, because he also thought, I think, because he's so sprightly, that the women he finds at 68 or whatever are not as sprightly, shall I say, as him. And they're all like losing their marbles, and yet he's as sharp as a bean. I don't know how sharp beans are, but he is as sharp as one. And we had an amazing conversation on all sorts of different levels. And at the end of it, he said, you know, I have loads of acquaintances. I mean, I must have spent nearly an hour talking to him at the end of my filming. And he said to me, you know, I haven't had a conversation like this where we've spoken about all sorts of different things, particularly ones talking about his emotions and things like that, and how he, you know, really feels. And I said, well, actually, I'm quite a good listener. And when I meet certain people who interest me, I said, you know, you're 95. You must have seen so many changes. The wisdom that you have in that head is amazing. It would be lovely to have him in a live show and have him here and to share some of that knowledge. But then he said, yes, but what you're forgetting is at 95, I've got plenty and plenty. I've had plenty and plenty of years to forget. And I didn't quite know what he meant. And he said, well, you know, what was I doing in the Second World War? He says, it isn't that I'm senile and can't remember. He said, I know I was in Singapore and somewhere else, he said, and even I can't remember now. He said, but I know vaguely that, but the detail starts to fade, all the actual precise details, because of the distance of time. So, you know, if we sort of think back, what were you doing when you were 10? You can think perhaps, oh yes, I remember my birthday. I can remember a few things, but you can't remember huge amounts of stuff. You know, when you were that age, you remember vaguely going to school and some vague things. He says it's just like that. It's just like that. And he was in his, I suppose back then, 95. I mean, he was in his teens, wasn't he? So it's just amazing, really. Anyway, he was a lovely man. I just wanted to share that with you and see, gauge your reaction to that. Is he on Facebook? No, he's not on Facebook. He said, that's very funny. He said, no, I'm not on Facebook because it would have been nice to have got him on the show and stuff. And I did think, I was tempted to sort of, you know, do an interview with him and film him, but I respected him because he said, I've avoided Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. He said he said, you know, I've heard that Facebook are in the news at the moment, and he said, I knew I was right not to be on Facebook. I knew I was right. I knew. He said the rate of change is too fast. He doesn't. One of the other things he said, and I'm kind of with him there. He said the modern technology in the old days, for years, ever since, you know, he was a kid and beyond, you could work out how things worked. A typewriter, a record player, a tractor, a car. You could work out because things were mechanical and they did things. And he picked up his phone and he said, you know, how does this work? And I said, well, this is it. You can't work it out, can you? Things are done like magic these days. It's just you can't open up the hood anymore and work it out for yourself. And he found that quite scary, and because he's, you know, of the generation he is, you could perfectly understand that. So anyway, beans are much sharper than peas, says Alex, which is true. Anne says, so sad. It's sad that he's yes, he could have a lot of fun if he was on Facebook, I grant you, but he's not got into computers, I don't think. So so anyway, but a lovely man, and so nice to meet him. So I wanted to mention that. Let's have a little look in the group then, shall we, and see what you guys have been doing. And of course, in order to do that, let's have a bit of this. Of course, I can't send back your photographs, so please make sure if you want them back, you send a stamped addressed envelope. So here we are. This is good old Paul. This is good old Paul Hine, and he's at the Upper Itchin Benefice, as you can see on the sign there. He's made a Vobing reporting video, which is in the group. Now, I should just say, if you upload to the group, I can't download from that. I don't know why. Can't seem to bring it and play it in. So if you want me to play it in the show, you need to send it to me. But lovely video and amazing looking church. Do go and check it out. This is this the flat pack church she was talking about? I think it was put up in something like 5 hours, but it is locked, so you can't go in. But you can peer through the window. So that was fascinating. Thank you for that. Also, I noticed that Ed had been busy out there. He hasn't been taking a picture. He had a picture, which I have yet to put into the thing. It's just coming. Don't panic. Here we go. This what time of year is this? This must be what in the They're obviously haymaking, aren't they? Or so it must be what, August time? Looks very plush. He said, I think you said that this is a picture you found in the house before you moved in, or when you moved in. It looks very nice, Ed. Thank you for sharing that. Do like the pictures going into the group. Thank you very much for doing that. Superb, ladies and gentlemen, superb. So that's all good. Now, tomorrow, I'm going lambing. I'm filming some lambs being born. Never mind my grandson being born. I'm going to be filming a whole load of lambs that are going to be born. It's lambing time, and I shall be bringing that to you next week. We'll get all that, and then it will be in the Monday show, which will be lovely. My sister Georgie is coming down to take some photographs, and the lovely Julia, who is an animal lover, said, "Oi, I want to come along and have a look at that." So we're all going down to Coombs tomorrow, Coombs Farm, and we're going to be looking at the lambing. Now, I want to try and get in with Coombs Farm because I want to do a live show from Coombs Farm with the cows and all that. I mentioned that the other day, which will be great. So I've got to have a word with Jenny and see if she's up for that. And also then do a regular thing, like once a month, and dip into the farm and see what's going on in the farm. Trying to connect a little bit of nature and the world of nature and farming and the great outdoors with the people who are stuck indoors, who have these busy lives and never get to see it anymore. The nearest you get to a chicken is a polystyrene piece of a tray with a bit of plastic over the top. So, I want to sort of bring a bit more of that, if I can, into the show. So that's one of the plans, and I hope that you'll be interested in seeing that. Also, I spoke to Cynthia, who said, look, we've got to get you up to Thacombe. We might be able to get you up in the church tower up there and talk to the bell ringer, which will be great.
The bells! I call her Esmeralda.
So that'll be nice. Esmeralda.
The bells.
Good old Victor Hugo and his Hunchback of Notre Dame, eh? So I'm not saying that the bell ringer there is the Hunchback of Notre Dame. I've never met him. He may well be. He may be running from pillar to post. But anyway, so that's good. And also, I spoke to a very nice lady by email today about going back to Binstead. It said Bedham. I was thinking of the church at Bedham, which is this derelict church. The Binstead there, they have a strawberry festival fair. They have a strawberry fair in July, I think it is. And so I have suggested that we could do the live show from the strawberry fair, depending if there's any 4G. You know, me and my big mouth probably say all of that, and they'll say, lovely, lovely, dear, come and eat the strawberries. They're lovely there this time, lovely. But of course, there may be no 4G, and if there's no 4G, I can't do the show. See, so I need to just test the area first. But trying to bring all of that to us. Tomorrow there will be no show, ladies and gentlemen. No show tomorrow. No show, because I'm speaking. I'm going to the Windmills Trust, the Sussex Windmills AGM, and the AGM. The next item on the agenda is Mr. Vobes. He's going to be talking about making historical documentaries. Mr. Vobes. So I'm hoping I can enliven the event a bit with a bit of panache and a bit of nonsense about making the Bald Explorer episode. But I also want to sort of pitch the idea of doing a live show from a windmill. Whether it's outside in the summer with the windmill behind us, or whether it's actually inside with the inner workings, and maybe get some footage of the windmill turning and making corn, if that's possible, and then somebody who's made some bread with the flour from the windmill, and then us eating it, toasting it, probably not allowed to light a fire in the windmill, and that sort of thing. So that, you know, I've got loads of ideas. If you've got any ideas that you want to suggest, do suggest them to me. So I'm losing my voice now. Hang on one moment, please. That's better. Do suggest them. Send them, either email me, richard@vobes.com, or message me separately from the show here, because I don't always see all the comments. I do look at them, and I do reply to... I like them. It takes too long to reply to everyone, but I hope you notice that I do... I try to stay as involved as possible in the group, and in the show notes, or the talks that goes on. So before I go, ladies and gentlemen, I'm running out of steam today. I just want to make sure everybody's all right. Did you know, says Dan Thompson, that Johnny Walker obituary? Did you know this guy, Johnny Walker obituary? No, I'm not quite sure what you're talking about there. Debbie Martin says, this is the Romney Church. My friend was christened there. Oh, was it? Oh, well, there you go. Alex Whitlock says, Aussie Church, corrugated iron buildings remind me of home. Ah, oh, right. Are you originally from, Alex, are you originally an Australian? Is that what you're saying? After we moved in on our first summer, oh, that's Ed Warren talking about the picture I put up. Don't forget your marigolds, Richard. I'm losing that reference. Marigolds for the lambs. Is that what you're saying? Sorry, I'm popping in so late, says Mark Wynne. Looking forward to tonight's episode, but had 2 999 calls to attend. Patience, all good though. Are you an ambulance man or a doctor or something, Mark? I'd be interested to know that. That's very interesting. Debbie Martin says boo. Oh, boo. Boo-hoo. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I think I've been on long enough. I don't know how many people have been watching, but it's very nice to have you with us. Before we go, ladies and gentlemen, little time for a little bit of... Oh, look at that lovely little baby. Isn't that nice little baby? Yeah, that's enough of that. Thank you very much. Thank you very much indeed. But from me, ladies and gentlemen, feeling a bit tired tonight. I think I've been on a bit of a strange journey today. It's been all over the place. No show tomorrow. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, tomorrow, Friday. No show tomorrow. I was toying with the idea of doing a show on Saturday. Toying with the idea to make it up to you, because I feel guilty now. But my daughter has just asked me in a text message, Dad, you know, daughters.
Dad?
Yes?
Have you got any lights I can borrow? I've got a photographic shoot. Have you got any lights?
Well, I've got 2 lights up there. One there and one up there. So I may not have any light to do a show. I might have to do the show by candlelight. If I'm going to do a show, I'll put a thing up on the Bald Explorer group. Do check out the group. Thank you very much for all your lovely attentions. If I don't see you tomorrow, I will see you on Monday. But for the moment... flagging here somewhat, flagging in today's show. But I hope it's been okay. Working very hard to get out all the videos. Tomorrow's video, ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow's video, The Walk. My sister and I are going around having a look at Brighton Pavilion. In Brighthelmstone, as it was once called, where the Prince Regent, before he was George IV, used to go down in the summer to prevent him, well, to improve his gout, I think it was. So that's tomorrow's video to look out for. I will also put up another... there's 2 more episodes of my journey in 2007 in the US of A. So they will be going up tomorrow as well. And I should be out lambing and looking at babies. And then in the evening I'm giving my talk. So thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Sorry it's been a bit of a sort of a flaggy show. I'll be better on Monday. But maybe there tomorrow too. Till the next time, thank you so much. Take care, one and all. Goodbye for now. Goodbye.
Oh, what a lovely little baby.